Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Woodford, President of Trades NL and Business Manager for Ironworkers Local Union 764, one of 16 unions the Trades NL represents. Thank you for being here today, and I'd like to officially welcome the Honourable Chrystia Freeland, Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, Minister of Finance, to Ironworkers Local 764. Please also give a warm welcome to Joanne Thompson, Member of Parliament for St. John's East. I'd also like to acknowledge that we are joined by Trades NL Executive Director Darren King, and all the way from Ontario, Canadian Building Trade Union's Executive Director Sean Strickland, but he had to catch a flight at 5, so he had to leave.
But he was with us.
Earlier, Minister Freeland had the opportunity to visit the UA Local 740 and also took a tour of the Ironworkers Union Hall and training facility. It was a fantastic opportunity to meet some of the great people we have working within the trades, give a brief history of our industry, and even try her hand at a few skilled trades activities. Of course, she rocked it. We are an industry that has high job satisfaction, great pay, continuous career advancement opportunities. Therefore, might I suggest a future in unionized skilled trades, Minister? Doors open for you with the ironworkers. The building trades are a proud industry, and our workers live in every community of the province. We're your neighbours, your friends, your family. We build hospitals for your loved ones to receive treatment in. We build rec centres where your community holds fundraisers and concerts. We build schools where you drop your children off every day to learn and grow. We do this effectively, safely, and with the highest qualifications. It is important that we invest in our workforce now, and we are pleased to see some supports from our industry outlined in the 2023 budget. We are pleased to see some well-needed supports for trades workers. From the labour mobility tax deduction for tradespeople, continuing from last year to double the tradespeople tool deduction from $500 to $1,000 this year. And additionally, investments that we will aid in the transition to sustainable energy and creation of more middle-class jobs. We applaud the federal government for further supporting unionised skilled trade workers. We are committed to working with Minister Freeland and her team to ensure our industry has more worker-focused supports for middle-class job creations so that we can help Newfoundlanders and Labradorians in the immediate and ensure that they are able to thrive for generations to come. Again, Minister, we thank you for being here. I would like to now invite Ms. Joanne Thompson to the podium for a few remarks.
Thank you, and before I begin, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the land on which we gather as the ancestral homeland of the Beothuk, whose culture has been lost forever and can never be recovered. We also acknowledge the island of Newfoundland as the unceded traditional territory of the Beothuk and the Mi'kmaq, and we acknowledge Labrador as the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Innu of Nunatsian, the Inuit of Nunatsiavut, and the Inuit of Nunatuavut. Although each community is distinct, we all share a desire to chart our way forward together towards reconciliation. And I am so pleased to be here. As we continue to green and grow our economy and face the realities of where we find ourselves in terms of the desperate need to move to low emissions, what a time to be a tradesperson. I mean, we desperately need more tradespeople. We need to celebrate the skill sets that we've certainly seen, and I was so fortunate to speak to so many of the students a moment ago. And I also am incredibly honored to be able to introduce my colleague to you, Minister Chrystia Freeland, and Chrystia, she likes to be referred to, but if you look at her resume, her profile, it is incredibly impressive. and I don't believe any of us can doubt her intelligence and absolute skill set. But for me, what is equally as impressive is her compassion and her kindness and how she's able to weave that into her work. And I think, you know, that's evident in Budget 2023. The focus on families, the focus on workers, the numbers that we're seeing in terms of workforce, and also something for me that's always a real indicator of balance is also the need to have focused supports for people who desperately need that assistance. So it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to Newfoundland, Chrystia, and to welcome you to the podium. And thank you. You've been a very good friend to this province. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much, Joanne, for that really, really kind introduction. And I have to say, we are very, very lucky as a caucus to have Joanne with us in Ottawa. I mean, look, someone who has had a career that includes being a registered nurse and also an entrepreneur, you really can't beat that. And I'm really grateful to you, Joanne. Where is she? Right here. I'm really grateful to you, Joanne, you know, for your wisdom, for your compassion, for how close you are to your community. So, good afternoon. Je tiens d'abord à souligner que nous sommes réunis dans les patries ancestrales non cédées des Mi'kmaq et des Beothuk. I am so happy to be here in beautiful St. John's, and I am really, really glad to have spent some time today with these incredible iron workers and with the very talented plumbers and pipe fitters of UA Local 740. That was a real compliment that you think I could become a skilled trades person. I have so much respect for how hard these jobs are, the skill it takes to learn how to do them, the hard work it takes to actually do them, and the great things that the people who do these jobs create. You are literally the people who are building Canada, and I am really, really glad to have the chance to talk to you, to see you in action, and very, very glad that in our budget we were able to provide some more support for the incredible work you do. Over the past year, I've spent a lot of time meeting with union workers and union leaders across Canada. And at every union hall, on every job site, and at every training center, I have been impressed by two things. One, the real skill that people were learning, and the real skill that people had as they graduated, not to mention the teachers. And the second was the real satisfaction. Everyone I've talked to, very much including the people I've spoken to here, take in their work, knowing it's work that provides a great career, a great living, and it's work that does something really important for us in our communities. So I want you to know how much I respect that work and the people who do it. Canada's economy depends on union workers. It depends on the people here today. The next few years are a pivotal moment for the Canadian economy. What President Biden, when he was in Ottawa speaking to the House of Commons, called an inflection point. That's where we are right now. And that's because today we're navigating two fundamental shifts. Dans le cadre de la plus profonde transformation économique survenue depuis la révolution industrielle, nos amis et partenaires du monde entier, principalement les États-Unis, investissent massivement en vue de bâtir les économies propres et les industries carboneutres de demain. Au même moment, Poutine et la pandémie ont cruellement révélé aux démocraties du monde les risques d'une dépendance économique à l'égard des dictatures. Par conséquent, nos alliés agissent rapidement pour appuyer leur économie sur des pays amis et établir leur chaîne d'approvisionnement essentielle avec des démocraties comme la nôtre. Together, these two shifts represent the most significant opportunity for Canada in the lifetime of anyone here, and a once-in-a-generation opportunity for union workers across our great country. There are a lot of people here with me, a lot of iron workers who are going to finish their course in May, and there's going to be jobs for every single one of them. We really need you. We can build a thriving, clean economy. We can provide our allies with the goods and resources they need, and I know Canadian workers are going to be the ones who do it. Union workers built Canada's industrial economy. I learned today, iron workers from Newfoundland built a lot of Manhattan. And union workers can build the clean economy of the 21st century. In fact, we're counting on you to do it. In the budget I tabled last week, we announced our plan to build Canada's clean economy. It includes more than $80 billion in investments that will make Canada a clean electricity superpower and ensure that Canada mines, processes, produces, and sells the goods and natural resources that our allies need. Our budget includes major investment tax credits for clean electricity and clean technology manufacturing, adding to the major investment tax credits for carbon capture, utilization, and storage, clean hydrogen, and clean technology adoption that we announced last year. And a very important part of this is that for the first time in Canadian history, we have attached labor requirements to these investment tax credits. These tax credits are generous, and they're going to play an important role in encouraging businesses to invest in Canada. So what we're saying to investors is, if you want to take advantage of these tax credits, if you want help from the people of Canada, if you want to build a clean electricity project or a clean hydrogen project or a clean technology project, you need to pay your workers the prevailing union wage, including benefits and pension contributions. You need to create apprenticeship opportunities. We have never done that before, and this is going to mean that these tax credits, in addition to driving real investment in the Canadian clean economy, are going to create even more job opportunities for the great people here with me today, and thousands and thousands and thousands of people like them across Newfoundland and Labrador and across Canada. That's because we want Canada's clean economy to be a worker-driven economy, one that creates good careers today and where the unions that built the middle class can continue to thrive. It's also why we introduced the labor mobility deduction, which makes it more affordable for our skilled workers to travel to where the jobs are. It's why this budget doubles the tradespeople's tool deduction from $500 to $1,000, which will help our tradespeople invest in the equipment they need. Because from iron workers to pipe fitters, to welders, to plumbers, our clean economy is going to depend on people, skilled people, hardworking people like the ones who are here today. Who's going to build clean hydrogen facilities? Who's going to benefit from thriving clean steel and clean aluminum industries? Workers like the people I'm here with today. People who are ready to roll up their sleeves, put on a pair of gloves, and earn a good living for a hard day's work. Our plan is about creating good jobs for everyone, everywhere, and union workers are going to lead the way. So I really want everyone here to know I respect your work very, very much, and our government is an absolutely committed partner for you and union workers across the country. We value the work you do, and I cannot wait to see the remarkable things you build in the months and years to come. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Questions from the media? We'll now take questions from the media, one question and one follow-up, and I just ask that you say your name and outlet before asking questions. Do you want to go ahead? Use this mic.
Hi there, Richard Duggan here with VOC. I'm in St. John's. I was in our House of Assembly earlier today, and much of the conversation was around the Atlantic Loop and the fact that Newfoundland and Labrador wasn't mentioned in the budget line about that. Can you explain why Newfoundland and Labrador wasn't mentioned?
So let me be extremely clear. The Atlantic Loop is a very important project for Canada. In fact, in my budget speech last Tuesday, yeah, it was a week ago, in my budget speech, I specifically mentioned the Atlantic Loop as one of the big projects that our government is committed to, one of the exciting projects about building a clean economy. And of course, Newfoundland and Labrador is an essential partner, player, member in the Atlantic Loop. So let me be really, really clear and categorical about that.
I was also reading an article from the National Observer in which Minister Wilkinson is quoted, and basically he says that he feels that most of the energy for the Atlantic Loop will come from Quebec, and that has some people here worried about the role that Newfoundland and Labrador will play and how much of a role we're going to play. Can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, again, let me just be very, very clear on the Atlantic Loop. This is a very exciting project for Canada. It's a very exciting project for Atlantic Canada. It's a very exciting project for Newfoundland and Labrador. And Newfoundland and Labrador is an essential element and player in the Atlantic Loop.
Peter Cowan from CBC. If Newfoundland and Labrador is such an important part of the Atlantic Loop, why wasn't it included in the text of the budget then?
So the specific reference that I think people are focused on was I think it's just a question of staging. That the particular stage of this part of the discussion is about Quebec, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. And really, we're just talking about step-by-step construction of the project. Construction, maybe not literally like the kind of construction you do, but construction like building the plan. And I do also want to be very clear that in the tables that we have dedicated to developing the plan for the Atlantic Loop, Newfoundland and Labrador is at the table right now.
Et en français, s'il vous plaît?
Avec du plaisir. Alors, je voudrais être très, très claire. Et c'est que le Newfoundland et Labrador est un partenaire essentiel dans la création du Loop Atlantique. C'est une province qui joue aujourd'hui et qui jouera un rôle essentiel dans ce projet clé pour la région atlantique, pour le Canada.
And in the budget, there was also a 15% tax credit for green energy projects. Here in Newfoundland and Labrador, there's quite a few on the books, whether that's Gull Island or whether that's upgrades to the Bay d'Espoir existing project. Can you give an idea? I know the local utility here is still waiting for some of those details to know what projects may qualify. What do you see as the potential in Newfoundland and Labrador? Are there specific projects that you had in mind with that could benefit from this tax credit?
Okay, thank you. It's Peter, right? Yeah, thank you very much, Peter, for that question, because the electricity tax credit in the budget is an absolutely central part of our clean economy plan, and it is a great, great thing for Newfoundland and Labrador. What we've done is, for the first time in Canadian history, said that public utilities are eligible for this tax credit. Now, usually you don't do that as a government because you think that a tax credit should apply to a private entity and that if it's a government entity, it shouldn't be getting a tax credit. We took a different approach in this case because clean energy and green electricity is such an important part of Canada's clean energy transformation. we estimate that we're going to need to double the production of electricity, of all the electricity produced in Canada between now and 2050. So we need to produce a lot more. Now that is great news for Newfoundland and Labrador because you have huge clean electricity production potential, and this tax credit is going to accelerate that. And we're going to need workers to build more clean energy generation facilities. So I think the teachers here are going to have to teach even more people, and you guys are going to have a lot of work. In terms of specific projects, these tax credits are intentionally open-ended. So they're available, and if you have a good project and you're eligible, we're saying do the project and you'll get the tax credit. You automatically qualify. There's not a lot of bureaucracy, there's not a lot of red tape, and in fact, Peter, there's not someone in Ottawa saying, these are the 3 projects that I think are good in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's really about people here, utilities, energy projects saying, hey, we see huge potential, and frankly, I think there is huge potential here, and this tax credit is going to help us get going sooner, faster, build more, generate more electricity. And I can't resist saying, and the hydrogen tax credit, also just a huge, huge opportunity for you here, and there's really tremendous interest specifically in Europe in buying that hydrogen from you, and the hydrogen tax credit is going to help you produce more and faster.
One more question.
Hi, my name is Beth Penny. I'm with NTV News. My question first is the carbon tax. It still continues to be an area of concern here for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. What do you say to residents who are concerned about the cost of their home heating increasing?
Well, I would say the price on pollution is designed so that people get money back. And the average family in Newfoundland and Labrador is going to get nearly $900 back. That makes a big, big difference. For 8 out of 10 families across Canada are getting more money back than the additional cost. In Newfoundland and Labrador, as I said, the average family is going to get $900 back. That's $300 more than the additional cost. So I really understand people's anxieties. As Joanne said, the cost of living is something that I know many, many people are worried about, and justly so. And that's why in the budget we have the grocery rebate, just to give people that extra bit of help. When it comes to the price on pollution, though, it's really important for people to realize that they're going to get the money back, and for the average family, they're actually going to get a little more money back than they're spending.
And we also talk a lot about affordable housing lately in Newfoundland and Labrador. What do you say to some critics who might say there wasn't enough in the budget in terms of fixing the housing crisis in Newfoundland and Labrador and Canada?
Yeah, well, what I would say is in last year's budget, in 2022, we put forward a multi-year $10 billion plan to invest in housing and make housing more affordable. $10 billion you don't spend just on budget day. You don't even spend it on budget month. It's a plan that is being rolled out, week by week, month by month. And I'm glad that you asked the question because it gives me an opportunity to really promote to municipalities across Newfoundland and Labrador a key element of that plan, which is the Housing Accelerator. The details of the Housing Accelerator were unveiled by the Prime Minister just last month in March. It is now open for applications. This is a $4 billion fund, $4 billion of that $10 billion, which is open to municipalities across Canada. And the idea is, again, it's sort of about recognizing that people in Ottawa are not smarter than people in other parts of Canada, that people in Ottawa don't have all the answers, and saying, you tell us what the solutions are to the housing crisis in your municipality. Bring us a plan, and you can get some of those $4 billion. And since presenting the budget, I've been traveling across the country, and I'm going to repeat to the people of St. John's, and especially to the municipal leaders, what I said in Vancouver and Surrey and Toronto, and I also said it to the mayor of Oshawa. And that is, get your applications in. There's $4 billion on the table for municipalities to come up with ideas about how they will get more housing built faster. So please do that.
Hi, Minister. My name is Chris O'Neill Yates. I'm with CBC National News. You talked about the grocery rebate, and a lot of food banks across the country, as you know, are struggling, and some say that's just not going to be enough. Here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and the Daily Bread in Toronto, which is one of the largest, probably the largest in the country, says it's had its worst month in March in its 40-year history. What more do you plan to do to make sure that Canadians across the country can put food on their table for their family every day?
Thank you for the question. And, let me be clear that I recognize, Joanne recognizes, our government recognizes the grocery rebate is not going to solve all of the challenges with affordability for everyone in Canada. It's for a family of four, $467. That makes a difference. For sure it's going to help, but I would never claim that it's going to cover all of the extra costs, that it's a magic wand that will fix everything. And, if the next question is, well then, why not do even more? My answer there is, in putting this budget together, what we had to find was a balance between compassion and responsibility. On the one hand, we thought really hard about supporting the most vulnerable people in Canada with the grocery rebate, but also with a $198 billion investment in healthcare, also absolutely essential, and we had to find the money to do that by extending healthcare to dental care. And, I would hazard a guess that many of those same people struggling to buy their groceries are also people who will get essential support from the dental care plan. So we knew we needed to do those things. We needed to make this once-in-a-generation investment in building the clean economy of the future. And, even as we found money for those three priorities, affordability, healthcare, the clean economy, I'm the finance minister. And I know that Canada's ability to spend is not infinite. And I had to present a budget that was compassionate, that met those needs, that invested in the economy of the future, but that was fiscally responsible, that maintained our AAA credit rating, that maintained Canada's financial sustainability. Because, look, standing with me here are some young people, people who just finished high school, came here, they've been training since September, and they're going to go out and do their first job in May. Part of my job is to be sure that Canada remains fiscally sustainable for them. And so I've thought a lot about the question that you asked, and I think in this budget we've found that balance.
Just as a follow-up, what do you say to the people at the food banks who can afford to buy less food because of inflation, and have people who are hungry showing up and the cupboards are bare? What do you say to people who are saying it's fine to have a grocery rebate, but we'd like to see a little more to help the people we serve?
Yeah, I say what I've just said now, that in this budget, we had to find a balance between the things we really needed to do. Affordability, definitely one of them. Healthcare, for sure, one of them. Investing in the clean economy and jobs, another one. But we did have to do it in a fiscally responsible way, and with a recognition that Canada is strong economically. We have a strong balance sheet, but our resources aren't infinite. And one of my responsibilities is to ensure that we are pursuing a fiscally responsible course so that we're in a position to continue to invest in the future.
Thanks, Minister.
Thank you.
Very much. That concludes today's press conference. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks.
We're just going to do a quick group shot before we all
Do you want to
Okay.
stay up there so we don't lose you
No,
behind
no,
the
no, that's okay, that's okay.